It's okay. You have one of those today.
I know. Yeah. No, the thing is, it's good.
Yeah.
I wish I could go through
Oh my gosh, I'm not that I went to.
I forgot about that when I was signing for classes, and I'm never going to go.
I like that.
At Northlight Gallery. First of all, Laura, what's the name of the show and how long is it up?
It is called Coming, Going, and Staying, and it's open until March 29th.
Okay, so first of all, walking around the gallery, I'm curious because you take these photos at an area where you're relatively a stranger, at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
Talk to me about how you get your subjects to give you permission to take photos and how you approach them.
Yeah, it really varies with the person I'm photographing. Some people I meet and spend quite a bit of time with. We end up sort of developing a relationship as I go back several times and photograph them over several periods of time, and other people I see and they're in like an environment and it's great and it's just already ready to go, and I just approach them to photograph them right there. So it kind of varies between kind of like making an appointment to take someone's portrait and it being sort of more of a slow process to kind of more on the spot.
Awesome. Tell me a little bit about how you choose the scale of your photographs, because I really enjoy the different scale across the gallery, both in both different rooms. So talk to me about that.
Well, there are definitely ones that I want you to be able to really enter into and be able to like observe the little details and things like that. So there are just a few that I really felt like being on like a larger scale would really help make it almost more intimate. That seems kind of contradictory, but so you can actually like get really close to that person or that place, you know. Other pictures I felt like would be sort of overwhelming at that size, so I just kind of wanted to. It was an opportunity to give certain ones emphasis over the others, and I think if it were all they were all big, it would almost be like a little overwhelming for the viewer. So just kind of helping them to focus on some things over other, just kind of directing the process in different ways.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, you've been working with the native population down there. Talk to me a little bit about the cultural boundaries and what it's like approaching them for photograph.
Sure. I approach everyone pretty much the same way, and I've only photographed on the reservation when I've had explicit permission from the person I'm photographing to come for like an event or something like that and photograph. Besides from that, I photograph in town, and I meet people who are native the same way as I meet people who are white or Hispanic. Basically, either I run into them, we strike up a conversation, or I meet them through someone else I've met, and I see if they are interested, and if they are, we kind of go from there. So.
Great. Well, the show looks fantastic. Congratulations. How long is it up?
It's up till the 29th of March.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi guys, here with Amy Leone at the Nathan Cummings Fellowship Summer Exhibit, and we're at Harrywood Gallery. First of all, Amy, tell me how long the show's up.
The show is up until March 22nd.
Talk to me about this fabulousness.
Okay, so I study wool harvesting in isolated communities because when I shear sheep here in the United States, most people throw their wool away. So I'm trying to figure out why that's happening. And so I'm wanting to go to cultures that still use wool harvesting as their primary commodity source. And so I built this structure as kind of a reminiscent of wool structures that shepherds live in throughout the United States or throughout the world. But I also use modern technology a little bit. So I created the geodesic dome structure to support the felt when it's wet, because when it's wet it's going to weigh about 400 pounds. And it's also very, very lightweight. So this whole structure weighs about 70 pounds, and I can take it with me wherever I go. Wow. So the intention is to go to Iceland and to the Faroe Islands and to Sweden to start the research and live in these communities, these farming communities, for extended periods of time, about 6 weeks each, where I work for them and they teach me about their wool harvesting culture. And then I can bring that knowledge back and teach it to the communities here in the U.S. so that they can benefit from that knowledge and kind of impart that into their own practice here.
Wow, fantastic. Tell me a little bit about learning how to sheep shear, because I'm really curious.
Okay, sheep shearing was actually, Jerry is here, but my friend Jerry taught me how to sheep shear. I started using fiber for my work, and I noticed it was all imported. And so I found a lady that had a local fleece that I could get from her, and so I went out to get that on shearing day, and I met Jerry, the shearer, and we became friends instantly. And next day I started shearing with him. And so he taught me kind of the basics of how to get going, and then I went to shearing school, and now we work together and we shear all over Arizona. And yeah, so I shear everything from small to big.
Tell me about how that informs your process.
It's really great because I get to see the whole process, and because I'm interested in alternative commodity structures, this is really a good model for that, because I'm dealing with these small farms that are impacted by our United States economy and the global economy. Plus, it's also a regional economy issue as well. So that being part of my practice, that is my practice, is looking at these commodity systems.
And you really get to experience the material from beginning to end. Mara, first of all, how long is the show up?
How is it up? Or how long is it up? It's up until Friday, but I think Pessler has something in here on Thursday, so till Friday, like morning-ish.
Are the shoes just going to stay on the roof?
Yes, they will be on the roof. They're fabulous.
They are fabulous. And speaking of shoes on the roof, talk to me a little bit about how we decided to display our art.
I guess it comes from my concept of a handmade identity. So everything in here is handmade, hand-painted, and my identity comes through like my artistic background. So it's like Matisse, Aboriginal art, Bridget Riley, and Sonia Delaney. And then the shoes are like my painted soul and also literal painted souls. So that's kind of where the title came from too.
I like it. Talk to me about your shoes. Where do you find them?
Where did I find them? Well, that's the secret.
We won't divulge secrets on our videos, don't worry. How do you, outside of finding them, how do you choose which shoes to use? Do they sing to you? Do you see a shoe and you're like, yes? And some of them you're like, uh-uh.
I mean, I guess it was more like a practical choice because they're all canvas shoes. So when you use like fabric or acrylic paint, it's more durable on that because it's like a canvas. And then the fabric paint that I used on all of them is really flexible. So it's long lasting with them. So I guess that's why.
So, and all these shoes, are all of them available through silent auction or just some of them? All of them are. Okay. Do you have a website somewhere else where you're promoting these or just?
Marzart, marzart.tumblr.com.
So if you can't make it out, make sure to hit that up. We'll roll it across the screen. And we're done. Thank you. Gallery with Michelle Starsman. First of all, how long's the show up and what's the title?
The title is Matter of Perception, and the show is up until Friday, which is March 22nd.
Okay, so walking around the gallery, I see a lot of uses of different materials. Can you talk to me about how you came to using different materials and how you go about your process?
Sure. Well, I'm primarily a metalsmith, but I use a lot of enameling, which is a type of glass fused onto metal. And from there, I started using some printmaking processes in some of the work, lithography, onto metal, and then using a lot of wood in the work as well to use a soft material in contrast with the hard metal.
It's really beautiful. As a sculptor myself, I find it very hard to combine the materials, so congratulations, seriously, on that. Because I've almost wanted to throw stuff against the wall, trying to do stuff like that. Okay, so second question I have is there are very intimate images as you peer through your sculptures. Talk to me about those images. Do you start with an image or do you start with your sculptural forms?
I start with an image and I work around that, and I form these forms based on cellular structures, so it's about looking closely and looking on a microscopic level. And the images are all of people who are close to me, which isn't necessarily important for the viewer to know, but for myself it's about this intimate experience with people you're in my life.
And really informing your process as far as working with the materials. Well, I think it's lovely. Congratulations. And we are done. Thank you. At Gallery 100. This is the BFA Fibers exhibit. So talk to me a little bit about your work and your process.
Well, I am a fibers major, but I tend to use the material. I try to use it more in three-dimensional work and three-dimensional forms, or in other ways that are non-traditional methods.
Yeah, I can see that across the board in the show here. How do you guys go about deciding as a group collectively how you were going to hang all the textiles? Did you have an idea of how you were going to do it from the beginning, or did each individual artist know how they were going to display? Because textiles is hard when it comes to display, I feel like.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like each artist had an idea of actually where they wanted to go in the gallery, and it just kind of went smoothly for us. Yeah, we didn't really have to fight too much about how to hang it or install.
Well, that's nice. I've seen it go way other direction. Okay, so outside of that, about your work individually, the sculptural form specifically, talk to me a little bit about the subject matter and the use of text.
Okay, well, on this piece here, it's called Domestic Gratitude. And so I did the weaving piece based on the concept of family and what it means to me, my own, creating my own tradition of family. And there's a lot of like what being domestic means, and it's sort of like in service to that. Mm-hmm. So I just felt like I had to express it with text more. So I used the form to show the sash, which is more of like a formality use of, service, kind of like giving it some respect. Mm-hmm. And then the text explains that a little bit.
Well, I think it's a beautiful piece, and congratulations. How does it feel to be done almost?
It's very nice. It's very amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.